Cancer, thank you so much for seeing me. Polina here, talking to you about your November 2017. Wow, haven't we all? Haven't we all? Oh my gosh, I've had this experience and I don't know what happened. Haven't we all? Oh my gosh, I had this experience on the first date with a man. Haven't we all? Oh, I haven't connected to many of my family members this month. It's okay. You have to just brush it off. Brush it off and try not to be too secluded this time around. Yes, it is an interesting time to be spoken about and to be spoken of, and it is a good time to be in amongst another frontier. It's a great time for bed. It's a beautiful time for sex. It's a great time for flowers, romance, love, interaction, fruiting experiences, things that lead to your home, perhaps, or things that lead to your mind. Great time to be embarrassed and then to be surrounded. So it's like this embarrassment or this feeling of uncomfortability shouldn't actually last that long. It should be like, oh, goodness. And then you need to be hugged in or loved in or connected to somebody or something that can inevitably give you all. It's a very nice time actually to be married. If you are getting married, it's a fabulous time to be opened up and to be almost as if a virgin at life, a virgin at life, or having this like virginal part of you, almost like finding out something in you, seeing something in you, feeling something in you. There is a part of you, Cancer, that is incredibly gorgeous, beautiful, alluring, and even in a weird way demanded and demandful. There is something about you that is incredible, and we just want you here. We want you here. It's a very nice time to be wanted. You read it with respect, loved and adored, held, felt, desired, absorbed. It's a beautiful, beautiful awakening time for sensual experiences. It's a perfect time to be in love. It's a gorgeous day for it. It's a beautiful experience to be with you. There is somebody perhaps already next to you, already formed in the last few days of October. There is a chance to become freshly preened and pruned by this new feeling. Gorgeous Cancer, you have got it all if you will for it, but if you are stuck, and if you are like many people in a sense of regret or shame, as Scorpionic energy is definitely the angelic energy in disguise. It is dark and it's goopy and it's very strange, but it does bring to you sometimes the most results or the most rewards in the year, as it does birth for you a child perhaps, or births for you children that are just people. So it's like somebody to mind, somebody to care for, a person, another person to tell off, or like a person to kind of cheekily fight with, and rough and tumble about with. It's an interesting time to have sex with somebody who's almost childish with you, or in a sense treats you like their baby. It's a very interesting time to have that kind of phenomena taking place. I'm not sure about that kind of stuff, and it's not somewhere that I go, but these cozy, cushy relationships where there is a parent in the person that you are dating, or they're treating you like a child, or you treating them like a child, like a baby, that's okay during this time. Not okay ever, I feel, to me. But if you are somebody who doesn't like grown-up relationships yet and can't yet fathom the idea of just being yourself on your own 2 feet, walking the earth, walking your life as a human, and you're looking for a very cuddly, cushy, and sexy experience with somebody who is in a parent-child relationship with you, because quite a lot of us, this is very common, quite a lot of us are looking for a relationship with a parent. It's like a Freudian thing. It's like we look for a relationship with a parent that we've missed out on, or occasionally we're looking to parent another person to show ourselves a new level of authority over ourselves or over another. It isn't so good in the long term, but for some of us, it is nice to just see you smiling. So seriously, Cancer, shut up and enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself. If you are looking for something squishy, and if you are looking for something really childish and really innocent, because your idea of innocence is probably different from ours. But if you're looking for something cozy and sincere in a very childish way, that's okay. And it's just nice to see you love yourself like this. It's really nice to see you expand for another person in that way. It's really nice to see you perhaps love your pet, get a new dog like a little puppy or a kitty. It's a really beautiful time to see Cancers enjoy the throes of life in a very childish or parental way. Incredible feeling, I feel, is in the air for those who are still looking for a child within themselves, an innocent factor about themselves that is beyond space and time, or some of the Cancers who are very much looking to parent somebody, to have a level of authority over somebody now, just to show themselves that they're all grown up. It's not okay in a long spectrum of reality, and if you are one of those people that have grown out of it a long time ago, good for you. But if you are willing to see that game of light and shadow and the game of innocence and dominance with another person, then yeah, definitely it is definitely your stage if you'd like to take it. It's your mic if you'd like to take it. If you want to, for some reason, bless us with a speech about your childhood, you can. If you want to bless us with a speech about what you think is great in the world with the innocence of a 12-year-old child, you can. If you want to step out and sing a song, if you want to do things that are fresh and bright and full of joy, full of glee, and if you've got any type of mission that you've had since you were a very little kid, since you were very small, you wanted to draw, and you now want to take that brush and now show your 5-year-old self that you are going to take that mission and you are going to be that inspirational 5-year-old even though you're 30, that's okay. That is okay. But by doing this thing, you have to also consider that we are in a cycle, and cycles create time. Time on and off. So it's like time goes on, time goes off. So when you switch on the switch, and for example, for instance, you want to be in a loving relationship with a father figure, even though you're the same age, and you're trying to create, for example, or similar age, and you're trying to create this idyllic, like this ideal for yourself, and you want it to become a part of you forever, you have to know that with these types of expressions of life, this is not going to, how can I say, last perhaps for a long time, or there's going to be waves and turbulences there, because it's not really a neutralizing energy, it is a spiking energy, it is asking for a lot eventually. So it might be that you get stuck in that experience for many lives sometimes for some people, or you might want to shake it off your shoulders in just a few days or a few months. There's a very interesting choice here, because we're in a fixed sign of Scorpio, to stay in formation or to leave, and also got Jupiter in Scorpio, we got Mercury there too, and the Sun obviously, so it's a very, very, very solidification station type of time, and you might not want to pursue what you see when you really truly see it for what it is. But if you're really happy with something, for example, you've always wanted a cute little boyfriend so you could like share ice cream with and go to the movies with, and even though you are like 25, you never really wanted to grow up and you always wanted to have an innocent relationship where you're not really a woman, where you're a little girl and you remain that way, that's alright. It is just that sometimes what you might see is that you might feel this very sour very quickly, or you might actually find yourself slipping to the cycle where you are forever babied by the man, and even if you're 60 years old, you're still considering yourself a little girl that wants to be babied and ask what flavor ice cream she prefers. So it's not a full bloom, I feel, of the truth of yourself yet, but it can be a part of it. It's a very, very nice time to consider what you see for yourself in the future. It's a structuring time. If you did, for example, notice that you might find something very tasty or very tantalizing in another person, or in a self-expression that you have, that is also, how can I say, causing havoc in some sense, or becoming an addiction cycle. I just love it when he holds me and he'll just wrap his arms around me and the world is mine. Like that kind of innocence, where you're not growing up and you're not maturing. It's just you want to be in a cocoon with another person or even people. That's not okay if you see it. If you don't see it and you think this is love, like say I've got 4 dogs and I've got 3 cats, this is love. And this is how you see the world, and you're actually genuinely honest, that is fine. But if you are feeling like, okay, so perhaps I don't need to be cuddled all the time, maybe I actually need to grow up and think about my business, or think about my purpose, or who am I becoming, or what is my spiritual self doing? Like, what are my maturity levels in these types of like cozy, cuddly relationships? Or for example, if you're finding yourself falling in love with an animal and you're kissing it on the mouth and you want it forever, it's a very interesting time to also consider sovereignty of human beings and other beings too, non-human. So very much good to consider, does your animal want to stay home and wear a little jacket? Do you really want to be on the leash yourself? Why would you put an animal on the leash? What is the situation of having 2 or 3 cats in a little apartment? It's a very, very interesting time to see what is your man representing to you. If he is a teddy bear and you treat him as such, why are you interested in maybe even housing your children who are grown up perhaps, or having situations with your kids where you're a playmate to them, you're not a parent, or where you're mothering them even though, for example, they're 26, they all got jobs, 3 of your children have good jobs and they're all very well acquainted with themselves and the real world, and they're already starting to teach you, they're teaching you about your maturity and things that are available to you now as an older person. And you might, for example, want to tell them, no, we're going to play Scrabble and we're going to have milkshakes and we're going to go for a walk. And remember when you were 5 and, you still used to, like, say, urinate, in your pants at school, and trying to embarrass your children or making them into tiny little squishy balls when they're already like grown up and have exceeded your expectations and even exceeded what you've done. It's not such a great thing. So maybe having a look if you are trying to find control or closure in situations that aren't actually healthy for you or anybody involved, and that includes animals as well. And it's also a very, very, very nice time. It's a very sophisticated time for Cancers to suddenly grow up. If you're really on the ball, if you're really onto it, you might actually see, for example, I've been painting since I was 5 and I've always wanted to be a painter, but I'm now 35, and of course I could paint a couple of paintings and put them in an exhibition space, but do I really wish for myself to be that? Can I not see that I'm not that? I'm beyond it now, that I've grown out of these cycles. Perfect time for that. Perfect time to understand, hey, hang on, don't I want to do something that's more extreme? Not for other people's noticing me, but more for the ability to become more nurtured by the initiation process of life, rather than the cool embrace of life, the cool kind of swervy, swirly embrace of just being at home. Do I not want to maybe say, for example, use my body as a home instead of, reading home and garden magazines and trying to match my house to the cookie cutter things that I see online or in stores? Maybe perhaps it is not a good time to tremble at somebody's feet. Perhaps it is time to actually go somewhere and decide for yourself what you want. It is a very interesting time to build your character fast. It's a fantastic time to almost serendipitously completely start a new zone, an interest. It is a very good time to start walking with yourself where you want to be, and starting to listen to that inner voice, not the one that wants the cuddles, but the voice that says, hey, actually I'm really interested in the political structure of this country, or I'm actually really concerned, for example, my mother's got arthritis and I'm starting to get it too. Perhaps it's time to have a look at arthritis cures around the world. Maybe it's time to start initiating myself into greater healing, into greater knowledge of myself and my form. It's a very, very good time to start looking out, looking up, and becoming more of an adult yourself, but it's also time to see things with humor. See things with humor. And the more you can see the stereotypes that you are looking for, the more open and boundless and bountiful your experience can be. For example, and bountiful, I guess, like well packaged, I suppose. But like, how can I say? It's like when you are willing for yourself to see the stereotypes and archetypes you creating in your life in full light, you might actually already know it. You might already know what they are. Like, for example, I kind of trying to be a poet when I could just be like a memorable member of society. I'm trying to be something quirky when I'm not really needed like that. I could actually achieve a lot more if I just let my inner child do something else. Or like, I'm trying to make this business or this whole situation about me when it's not. It's actually about global issues. Or for example, I'm trying to get the best out of this guy by making sure he texts me back all the time and making sure he says the right words to me that feel good to my heart. But in the same sense, I'm actually understanding that I'm manipulating the situation into a cosmetic experience underneath which there's not really a lot going on. Or you might actually see I'm looking for a friend in myself. That's why I'm getting dog number 3. And you may actually find that this resolution, the sudden sobriety that hits you, will be the best yet to come. So you might actually be the person that writes a book later and saying, in November 2017, I've shed all the stories. It's like Fight Club a little bit, but it doesn't have to be that chaotic. It's like I've shed everything that I had. I've shed my conservative lifestyle, or I've shed my illusions of success, or illusions of codependency, illusions of perfectionism, and illusions of social comfort. I've destroyed these illusions in November 2017 because I've enabled myself to see clearly. So very, very good time to get sober, and it is a good time to see the light, unless you're in such deep trauma or such deep sleep that you really just want something cozy and warm. And if you did design for yourself a life where you are looking for that, that's not okay in the long term. But for now, if you are feeling my traumas come back, I need to curl up, I need to find peace, I need to touch my feet, and I want to like look downwards and inwards, and I want somebody to hold my hand always, that's not too bad for the while. But make sure that at the same time, perhaps you are working with it another way. If you're somebody with a lot of trauma cancer and you're falling into those cuddly, cushy lifestyles or conservative little situations, you might want to simultaneously, because sometimes you might see that's not the only face that you have, simultaneously maybe do some study about that. Maybe having a look for some kind of writing about inner child, about reverting to childish behavior when an adult, looking for comfort, looking for closure, wanting to have a relationship with an animal if it was a baby, you know, wanting to be babied yourself, any type of baby like mommy, daddy experiences that you might be evoking during this time should be closed, or at least understood, just so that when the going gets tough, or when things cave under pressure, because all false situations eventually erupt or become binds that you kind of don't know how to get out of or get away from, it may be very, very nice to see now the other side of that story. And of course, if you are I suppose not knowing of this is a symptom, and you probably quite put off by this video suggesting to me, I kiss my dog on the mouth all the time, I love my puppy, I sleep with my puppy, I'm the best person ever, I'm a dog lover, and I want my coziness more than I, you know, challenge myself, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. It's just that I'm seeing that as a trend for human beings. Obsession with an animal as if it was owing you a human experience or like a human relationship, where you looking for human traits in them and animal traits in you to merge into one system with an animal, energetically and psychologically for the animal specifically, isn't welcome. And I'm not just saying this because I don't have animals. I've had a few, It's just that this isn't a natural cycle. It's not a natural cycle. Just as, for example, having your son at 40 still at home and still in diapers, unless there's like, of course, like a physical disability, but say having a healthy, full-grown man still spoon-fed by his mother, at 40 is not a natural experience. So having to look at those things and understanding where you might want to grow up very fast or initiate yourself into greater growth and greater experience. Thank you so much, Cancer. Hope you had fun. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. And yes, I'll put all the links in the caption section below. Thank you. Bye.